Welcome to Screen Hollywood, the home of movie news and entertainment. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe.
Guy who fought Soldier Boy, Butcher, and Huey all at once and still came out looking terrifying. Yet somehow we're supposed to believe he struggles against Butcher, Kimiko, and Ryan in a confined room? It just wasn't believable. And the choreography made it even worse. So, what the hell happened to the boys? Seriously. This was supposed to be one of the greatest superhero TV shows ever made. For 3 seasons, The Boys felt untouchable. It was brutal, unpredictable, funny, violent, and completely different from anything else in the genre. Homelander became one of the most terrifying villains on television. Butcher was iconic. Soldier Boy instantly became a fan favorite. And the show somehow managed to balance insane superhero chaos with genuinely great character writing. Then Season 5 arrived, and the entire thing completely fell apart. Now, before people start screaming in the comments, this is obviously opinion-based. If you loved the final season, fair enough. But for me personally, this show started declining heavily after Season 3. And by the time the finale arrived, it genuinely felt like the writers had no idea how to land the plane. And honestly, I think one of the biggest reasons for that is the original creative energy behind the show clearly changed after Season 3. Because the writing quality dropped massively. The early seasons felt sharp and focused. Every character had purpose. Every storyline built tension. The dialogue felt natural. Even the satire worked because it was layered into the story instead of beating you over the head every 5 minutes. But later on, the show became bloated, messy, and way too obsessed with its own political messaging instead of telling a compelling story. The balance was gone, and the characters started suffering because of it. The biggest example? Soldier Boy. What an unbelievable waste of a character. Jensen Ackles absolutely crushed that role. The guy walked into the show and instantly became one of the best characters in the entire franchise. He had charisma, menace, unpredictability, and honestly, he felt like one of the few characters who could genuinely challenge Homelander. And that Season 3 fight? Still one of the greatest superhero battles ever put on television. Homelander versus Soldier Boy, Butcher, and Huey was insane. That fight felt dangerous. Homelander looked like an absolute monster. And remember something important here. Homelander didn't even have the V1 enhancement back then. Yet he still managed to survive a fight against multiple powerful opponents at once. That scene proved exactly why Homelander worked as a villain. He was terrifying because he genuinely felt unstoppable. Which is why Season 5 makes absolutely no sense. Soldier Boy comes back, does basically nothing, gives Homelander the V1, gets choked out, and ends up back in storage. That's it. Seriously? That's how you use one of your most popular characters? It honestly felt like the writers brought him back purely to set up future spin-offs instead of actually serving the main story. And you can practically see the setup happening in real time. The problem is, none of it felt natural. Soldier Boy could have played such a major role in the ending. He could have betrayed Homelander. He could have become the wild card that nobody could control. He could have had an actual redemption arc. There were so many interesting directions they could have gone. Instead, they completely wasted him. And this is where the show started feeling like it was making things up episode by episode instead of following a strong plan. That brings us to the biggest problem of all, Homelander's defeat. I'm sorry, but that finale was terrible. And I don't say that lightly because I absolutely loved this character throughout the series. Homelander was built up for years as this unstoppable force of nature. The entire reason he worked as a villain is because everybody was terrified of him. Even other supes were scared of him. This guy could laser people apart in seconds. He had superhuman speed, superhuman reactions, ridiculous strength. And the show constantly reminded us that if Homelander truly snapped, almost nobody could stop him. But then we get to the Oval Office confrontation, and suddenly he feels weak. Not emotionally weak, physically weak. The writers completely nerfed him. Because there is absolutely no way the Homelander from seasons 1 through 3 loses that fight the way he did. No chance. This is the same guy who fought Soldier Boy, Butcher, and Huey all at once and still came out looking terrifying. Yet somehow we're supposed to believe he struggles against Butcher, Kimiko, and Ryan in a confined room? It just wasn't believable. And the choreography made it even worse. The real Homelander would never stand there long enough to let Kimiko get that attack off. He reacts at superhuman speed. Earlier seasons established this over and over again. But suddenly in the finale, he's moving like a completely different character because the script needs him to lose. That's bad writing. You can't spend years building someone into an unstoppable monster and then suddenly lower his intelligence, speed, and awareness just to make the ending work. The audience notices. And honestly, the scene itself looked awkward, which is crazy considering Anthony Starr and Karl Urban are both fantastic actors. But even great actors can't save weak material. The dialogue felt stiff, the tension felt forced, the choreography lacked impact. And somehow, the biggest confrontation in the entire show ended up feeling smaller than fights we got 2 seasons earlier. That should never happen in a finale. And speaking of things feeling smaller, the budget issues were impossible to ignore. The second I started watching season 5, something immediately felt off. The world suddenly looked tiny. The sets looked smaller. The action scenes felt restricted. The scale of the show completely changed. Earlier seasons felt cinematic, huge environments, explosive action, massive destruction. You genuinely felt like the world was spiraling into chaos. Season 5 felt weirdly confined. Characters spent most of the time standing around talking in small rooms. Even the finale itself felt small. And that's insane considering the marketing made it look like we were heading towards some massive apocalyptic showdown. The trailers sold this thing like the superhero version of Armageddon. What we actually got was a finale that felt weirdly cheap and strangely empty. Now, to be fair, television budgets are complicated. And yes, Anthony Starr has spoken publicly about production limitations affecting the show. But honestly, you could feel it immediately while watching. The downgrade was obvious. Compare the Herogasm fight in Season 3 to the final battle in Season 5. It doesn't even look like the same series. Season 3 felt huge. Season 5 felt restricted. And unfortunately, when you're making a superhero show, scale matters. Especially when your villain is Homelander. Because this wasn't supposed to be some small personal conflict anymore. The show itself spent years building towards societal collapse, total chaos, and all-out war. The finale should have felt enormous. Instead, it felt rushed. And honestly, I think that's the perfect word to describe the entire final season. Rushed. Storylines were introduced and abandoned. Characters drifted in and out without much purpose. Important moments lacked emotional payoff, and the pacing was all over the place. It genuinely felt like the writers were more interested in setting up future projects than giving the boys the ending it deserved. That's the frustrating part, because this show absolutely could have delivered an all-time great finale. The foundation was already there. The cast was incredible. Homelander was iconic. Butcher was iconic. The world building was already established. Everything was perfectly set up. And somehow they still fumbled it. What made the early seasons special wasn't just the violence or the shock value, it was the character writing. That's what people connected with. The tension between Homelander and Butcher, the unpredictability of Soldier Boy, the fear of what Homelander might do next. That's what made the show addictive. But once the writing lost focus, the cracks started showing everywhere. Characters stopped feeling authentic, conflicts stopped feeling earned, and eventually, the entire thing started feeling like a parody of itself. Which is honestly sad because at its peak, The Boys was one of the best shows on television. Season 1 was phenomenal. Season 2 expanded the world perfectly, and Season 3 gave us some genuinely legendary moments. But after that, the decline became impossible to ignore. And by the time the finale ended, I wasn't angry, I was disappointed, because this should have been unforgettable. Instead, it became one of the most frustrating endings to a major TV series in recent memory. And the craziest part? All they really had to do was stay focused on the characters that made people care in the first place. That was the magic of The Boys, and somewhere along the way, they completely lost it. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Do you think I'm way off and the season finale was epic? Or are you on the same page as me? Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to Screen Hollywood for the latest movie news and entertainment. See you in the next one.